Welcome to Diablos in Podcastica with Toomey and Wadzilla.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Diablos in Podcastica. As always, I am Joshua Toomey, joined by...
Oh, yeah! That's right! Oh, shit, it's foaming up. It's me, Wadzilla, and, you haven't heard me crack a beer in a long time. But I said, fuck it tonight. I just had to break down and drink. And I'm going to regret this shit tomorrow, but right now I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it has been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but you know what? I can only take so fucking much, and I don't even care that it's a school night. I'm enjoying a few Frosty Barley Pops tonight.
You know, it's so funny, man. It's like every time you and I try to get this podcast out, you know, we try to do weekly, but I think right now we're about every other week, every 10 days or so. It's always something, man. It's like riots and COVID and car accidents and just like... I think you and I are the cause of all of things going on in society right now.
Hey, I think this podcast was built on an Indian burial ground. Last week was my problem because I had to work late 2 nights in a row, and but goddamn, I mean, we can't even enjoy a week off without the world going to fucking hell. You know, ever since we started, man, Rome has been fucking burning. But fuck it, let's ride out the apocalypse.
Yeah, the apocalypse will be podcasted.
Yes, apparently, but I gotta say, it makes it harder and harder to get excited, and not because I don't enjoy the show, but what I mean is like it's such a weird time to be doing our type of, you know. I mean, I know we're not limited to music and stuff, but primarily we're a music podcast, and right now there's no new albums coming out. You know, there's no concerts. You know, if it's not COVID or, you know, race riots, people being murdered, there's murder hornets. I mean, it's just one thing after another, you know, and it's fucking hard times. And, you know, I got to come out here and fucking, you know, sing and dance and try to entertain you motherfuckers, man. And I'm just as angry, pissed off, and just don't know what's going on as the rest of you. But I'll try to tell a few dick jokes and make you forget your troubles.
Yeah, maybe. That's one thing. I mean, we've never been a political podcast, so it's like if you and I were to come on here and be like, you know, trying to talk about race relations and everything going on, I don't think that this is the place for it. And, you know, it's hard to take a...
Yeah. Give me the end of this beer and we might get there. Cause I mean, I don't even know what the fuck else to talk about, really. I mean, I really don't. We talked about originally when we were going to record last week. It was my week to pick what we were going to talk about, because we're very democratic here at Diablos and Podcastica. And I was like, yeah, bands we hate. That'll be fun. You know, it's fun to hate on shit. Like right now, we're just surrounded by hate. And even my ass that normally, like, I'm buck nasty, man. I love to hate on some shit. I'm like, oh, man. Like, we got to talk about something else. So I was glad you picked, you know, the topic that we're going to get into. But, yeah, these are hard times to be entertaining and be funny. I saw a post the Podfather, great Ken Mills, put up today, and he's very political. You know, like I know you're not really. I'm very, you know, political. Not on, you know, the Diabolus page, the Wadzilla World page. You know, I use that as my outlets for my music and my movies and stuff like that. And I use my personal page for my political beliefs and shit like that. It's just like different pages for different outlets, you know. But the Podfather put up a thing where he said he just doesn't feel like podcasting right now. I mean, he says he's got episodes recorded and stuff like that, but with all this shit that's going on, he just doesn't feel like it right now. And I was kind of like that today, in a way. Not that I don't want to record and, you know, and talk with you, because I love talking with you and joking around and doing shit to entertain people. But there's so much real shit and not enough of the entertainment we like to talk about. It does make it kind of hard. Like, I guess almost like where you could come off as being fake if
Right.
you're not acknowledging the deep shit that we're in right now. So it was, and that's why I'm drinking tonight. I'm just like, it's like, Jesus Christ. I'm sitting here in New Orleans, where I'm dealing with a lot of shit. People are dealing with all over the world. People are dealing with the COVID shit. That's all over the fucking world. In the U.S. here, you got everything going on with the protests right now and shit like that. And then to top that shit off, we're looking to get hit with a tropical storm that maybe could be a hurricane or something by Sunday. So it's just like, motherfucker, and I can't even go downstairs at the bar because they can't open bars because of goddamn COVID. I'm just like, it's a motherfucker,
I've said this to a few people, but the one thing that I did notice about the rioting and the looting and everything else was there's an area downtown here called 4th Street Live. It's all these bars and restaurants, and they're all just kind of on top of each other right downtown in a business district, but they open up to a big giant sports bar. But there's a Hard Rock Cafe there, and they started busting the windows out of the Hard Rock Cafe. And I was there thinking, I was like, man, you know what's right beside the door to that Hard Rock Cafe? That's a Dimebag Darrell guitar and a Sean from White Zombie bass, both right there. And I was like, you know what? I might need to go down and start protesting.
yeah. Go get that shit. Hey, I know Sean. I could get that shit signed for you.
Well, there you go. Yeah, man. I told Baco, I was like, if you see a guy with a mask on running down the road with a Dimebag Darrell guitar, it's not me.
Oh man, and they've been doing protests here in New Orleans, which I fully support.
Yeah.
Actual protests. I'm not saying, hey, let's loot, anarchy. That doesn't solve anything. Doesn't solve a fucking thing. But for the most part, here in New Orleans, it's been very, very peaceful. No problems. No problems with looting. No problems with the police. Just good, like, American protest, which is your right to do. And then last night happened. And then people are getting gassed here. And what they made the mistake in doing, we didn't have the looting. We didn't have that shit. But they tried crossing the bridge here, the Mississippi River Bridge, which leaves New Orleans and goes into what I call the white trash suburbs. Every major city has suburbs where people go to escape the city. And we got two of them right here. We got one for rich white people and we got one for poor white people. And they tried to carry the protest over to where the poor white people are, and all hell broke loose. I tell you what, it would have got ugly if they did get over the bridge. I got to admit, it would have, because you would have had a bunch of good old boys versus the protesters, and it wouldn't end well for anybody. But it did get a little nasty last night, and it sucked to see that, because I was very proud of my adopted home here, that people protest and let their voices be heard without any of the drama you're seeing in a lot of other areas. But I want to say, by and large, there's a lot more peaceful shit going on than there is bad shit.
Right.
And there's always going to be opportunists in any kind of situation like this. People who have no interest in what the actual topic is about, but just want to cause havoc and get some free shit and steal. I mean, that happens everywhere. Like it happened here during Katrina. Any situation like this, it brings out the best and the worst of people. You're going to see people come together, and you're going to see the dregs of humanity try to do shit. And I was sorry to see it break down like it did last night. Hopefully tonight, I know there's another protest tonight, and I have, it's one of those things. They've been going to different destinations every night in the city, and they don't announce where they're going, which is smart. But hopefully tonight, nobody gets hurt. I don't want to see my city torn apart, but at the same time, I believe in the protests, and I believe, change is needed. But, another major thing, I mean, we're both football fanatics. Big drama here in New Orleans. Fucking Drew Brees.
Yeah, man,
wow.
Your New Orleans Saints are going crazy.
Yeah, fuck my New Orleans Saints. Suck a dick. Suck a dick. Hey, I love this city. I ain't no fucking Saints fan. But, wow. What fucking drama that caused. And it was so funny, looking at shit online and people talking. Like yesterday, he was the poster boy for, the right wing and the conservatives. Yeah, he took a stand for America, and fuck them if they don't like it. And then he came out today and made an apology, and, which I'm sure was forced, but I don't think Drew Brees is a bad person. He's done a lot of great things for the city of New Orleans. I mean, he just donated, a bunch of shit, for underprivileged families that are suffering because of, COVID and so many people out of work. He's done a lot of great things, not only for the city of New Orleans, but for football players and shit. But, he made what, in my opinion, and a lot of players' opinions and a lot of fans' opinions as well, pretty fucked up comment. Made an apology today. Was it sincere? Was it forced? I don't know. I don't know the man fucking personally. I just know he's done some good, but he made a fucked up comment. And in this day and age, once you fucking tweet something or you do an interview, I mean, it's up there forever.
Right.
And people aren't going to let you forget it. I disagreed with his comment, but, the people kneeling in protest, it doesn't bother me because I don't see it as an insult to our veterans, to our armed forces. I really don't. I see it as a commentary, a social commentary on how certain people are treated in this country. And I understand that, and I agree with it, and I agree with it as a form of peaceful protest. And I've stood up for it since it started happening. And my hat is off to Colin Kaepernick. I think he sacrificed a lot to stand up for what he believes in. And, Drew Brees said basically he sees it as disrespecting the flag. We disagree on that. And that's fine. People can have different opinions. But, there's also a certain thing is timing. Just like I said, hey, maybe this ain't a great week to talk about hate. Like, maybe that was the wrong time for him to, say that shit. And again, that's his interpretation. That it's just, to me, it's not anti-military. It's not, how do you feel about the kneeling and everything? Is that a big thing around where you're at with Titans fans? Did you have any drama with that shit?
I mean, the only thing that the Titans did, I think that they didn't come out of the locker room one time. Like, they all stayed in the locker room for the anthem. But
I mean, do you see it, though? Do you see it as a slight on veterans, though? Or do you see it, when other players take a knee? Say, take Kaepernick out of the equation.
Well, the knee came from a veteran. Like, the knee was...
Right. And that's what a lot of people don't know, that it was an actual veteran that told him that's a way to protest it. And, that was a former Green Beret and Vietnam veteran.
Taking a knee is actually more respectful than sitting on the bench like he was doing. Like
True.
He was told to take a knee, and taking a knee is actually not necessarily like this terrible thing. It's a military thing. It's, you take a knee for your brother when they fall and all this other nonsense. It's I don't think it was as bad as everyone made it out to be. I mean, obviously the right came out of nowhere and just like, this fucking asshole's disrespecting America and the flag and your mom, But then again, you got to remember that the only reason that they play the anthem at the beginning of a football game is because the military pays the NFL to do it. So it's like, it's a whole mess.
Right. Now, how do you feel, with the current climate we're in, and if football does start, which I'm still skeptical on, if it does, if you see a lot of players take a knee, are you gonna not watch football?
I've always joked and said, if Colin Kaepernick was a Tennessee Titan and he was winning games for us, I don't care where he kneel. He could kneel on the logo of the Titan in the middle of the field, like I don't care. Win me games, win games. That's all that's all I worry about. I could care less about your social justice warrior stuff off the field. And then once you start losing games, then I'm like, all right, get out of here with that. It's like,
I think it's funny. I see so many people online say, "Oh, I'll never watch another NFL game again because of this." And the left and liberals are always, coined snowflakes, and little babies and pussies. But it's like, God damn, the right, when there's some shit like this, like I've seen people. This last week, people say they're a Saints fan because of what Drew Brees said yesterday. And then I saw just as many people today say they have no respect for him because he apologized. And people say they're not going to watch the NFL or they're going to sell their Saints season tickets. The other day, were you aware of Blackout Tuesday?
Yeah, I was aware of it.
Okay, so now I totally believe in the cause, but I'm not one. I do this shit every day, so I didn't make my screen black because I post my shit every day, and if you follow me, you know how I feel. So to me, it's like I post this shit every day. I don't need to do it just one day. Now I didn't judge anybody who did it, but I just didn't feel personally the need to. But I did see on Facebook a lot of people, I saw this shit, Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick's Facebook page went black. And I saw all these people, fuck Cheap Trick, I'll never listen to Cheap Trick again. I'm like, really? You're not going to listen to at Budokan anymore because their Facebook page went black for a day. A streaming site, horror movie site that I subscribe to, Shudder, went black. And I saw, I'm canceling my subscription today because they went black. And I'm like, that, you want to talk about some snowflake shit. And I've seen so much shit on, because we all love Blabbermouth because, if you love hard rock, you want to know what's going on, and particularly you want to know what Corey Taylor has to say about it. So you go on Blabbermouth. And I've seen so many people, like, if a band comes out and says, oh, we don't like Trump or we don't like this, I'm never buying a Sacred Reich record again,
You weren't going to anyway.
Yeah. Fuck Axl Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Lee. Hey, I agree with it, too. I think Tommy Lee's an idiot, I'm still going to listen to Shout at the Devil, Don't give a fuck. I still listen to Ted Nugent, for Christ's sake. I cannot stand this son of a bitch. I really, every time he opens his mouth, it's just like, is he still alive? Why? Die already. But I love some Ted Nugent music. I'll always love Stranglehold. I'll always love those records. I don't care what he believes. I like the fucking music. Like Rage Against the Machine. Somebody, I fucking hate Rage. I don't give a fuck. I don't know what half the songs are about anyway. I just know I like them. I like the fucking riff. I like the fucking beat. I don't give a fuck. I like music. Like, oh my God. What if I found out that one of my favorite bands thought The Elder was a good album, or they owned a copy of fucking 5150? Well, maybe for 5150, I would unfriend them. But you know what I mean? It's like, get over it, fucking people.
Yeah.
You want to make fun of the left being a bunch of pussies, but you're going to do all this shit. But man, it's just like everything is so fucking hate filled. That's why I was like, we can't do. They ruined my hate episode. I wanted to have a fun hate filled episode. Oh my God! You know how much I even started taking notes. I had so many good jokes and one-liners about bands that I hate, but I was like, you know what? Just let's save it for another fucking.
Yeah, we'll come back. Next episode will be our all hate episode.
Yeah,
but
we'll see. But next week, it'll be fucking locusts. So it's like, shit.
Well, that's like, the only thing I think people can do in music, aside from Michael Jackson, is like anything to do with children. That'll make me never want to listen to him again. And not that I was ever a huge Lost Prophets fan, but like when they've kind of come on and shuffle, like on Spotify, you'll be playing a playlist, and they'll pop up, and you're like, you just can't listen to them. It's like when it involves children, that's where I pretty much draw the line. But
I get what you're saying. Because being a father and now a dose grandfather, I don't give a fuck. I'm still listening to Michael Jackson. I don't give a shit what you say, man. I'm going to play Off the Wall of Thriller. And how many kids did he fuck? I mean, I don't care. I still like Gary Glitter, for Christ's sake. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to send him bail money or anything like that. But I just don't give a shit. I separate that shit. I love Roman Polanski movies. I don't care. I don't care. Entertain me. Don't mean I got to be your best friend, but to stop, listening to a band, it's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's a mess, man.
Whatever.
Do you know some children that I will never stop listening to, and that is our henchmen.
Our henchmen.
Hell yeah. What a long intro. It went from, we're not the show to talk about politics till a half hour later after politics. Let's get to the henchmen, shall we?
Right, let's talk about some henchmen. I'm pretty sure these people are all on the left. And, the first guy here, Mike Glindemeyer, he reached out to me because he had been sharing the podcast, but I could not see it. I don't know if it was a security setting or if we weren't friends at the time, which we've become friends on Facebook now.
Oh, yeah. He sent me something too. He's like, I will never listen to Talk To Me podcast.
Screw that guy.
This pinko commie wouldn't say my name.
So if you're out there and I am not saying your name, it is because I'm not seeing it. So make sure to message me and I will definitely get you on the henchmen. So our henchmen for the week: the aforementioned Mike Glindemeyer, Adam Cox, Mike Taylor, Joseph Stav, Christopher Ellefson, Daniel Lee, Rich Kenamar, Jay Sabluski, James West, Anthony Bonex, Brad Kalmanson, Chuck Copson, and Samuel Wetz. Appreciate it, fellas.
And the Mooger Fooger.
Did you see where he was the guest on Decibel Geek? And I was like, you're the Mooger Fooger.
Yeah. That mugger fucker. I still don't think he's sharing this show, but I just love saying Mooger Fooger.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. It's a good one.
Oh, shit. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody that shared this show. And I get a lot of messages from people, great words of encouragement about how much they enjoy it. And I really appreciate it. And you guys sharing this helps a lot. And Josh is going to get us some more interviews that'll get us even more fucking...
man, I sent you a laundry list of bands that we could have on, so we're gonna have to start getting those together.
He did. We're gonna keep it under wraps, but he sent me a list of some bands I would really, really like to talk to. Let's just get the word out, make this grow, and it's a grassroots thing, but people seem to be enjoying what we were doing, at least until this episode when I got all fucking political.
They're now burning their Diablos and Podcastica shirts, so thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks, Drew Brees.
Never again, yeah. I took a knee on podcast.
You are now the Drew Brees of the Diablos and Podcastica podcast.
Don't worry. Next podcast, I'll say I'm sorry.
But you have to say it in the
less and listen more.
You have to say it in the way of like, if you're offended, I'm sorry. Like it's like that weird insincere apology. Like if I offended you, I'm sorry, but other than that, I'm not.
Right. Oh man. Oh, I posted. I don't know if you saw. I posted on my Facebook page today. Great picture. It was from Django Unchained, where Leonardo DiCaprio gets shot, and Samuel L. Jackson as Steven holds him crying. But it was Samuel L. Jackson holding Drew Brees.
Nice.
And I love it. And, and I felt bad. because I don't want to make light of what's going. Well, I guess I kind of do. I just found it funny because I love Django Unchained, and I thought the whole situation was funny.
Yeah, I that's my whole thing. I always want to make light of everything.
Right. I don't want to lessen this, because I believe in the seriousness of the situation, but at some point you have to laugh to keep from crying. You know what I mean? You have to have something to I don't know. You got to do something. We're all gonna fucking snap. That's why I'm drinking.
Well, we do have a few iTunes reviews to read through, and then we'll be back to nothing, and we don't have any new ones, so we need some new Diablos and Podcastica Apple Podcast reviews. So
yeah. So start shaming people who haven't left a review yet, and and I've had people write me I don't do iTunes. Well, you have to now. I'm sorry.
And if you don't do iTunes, head over to the Facebook page. So
yeah. Yeah, and if you don't do that, I will never buy your records again. Fuck you, Cheap Trick.
I'm never going to listen to you again.
Never. All lives matter. All lives matter. But only 20% of podcasts.
Right. All right. Well, you want to start this one?
Yes. This one's called Not That Bad. Yet they gave it a 5-star review. This comes from Baby Daddy 9. And he says, and I quote, 5 henchman stars.
Proves they're listening.
And you kind of hit me to who this is. And this is Loose Cannon.
Yeah, I believe that's the old Loose Cannon from the Cobras and Fire podcast. Yeah, boy, he put a lot of thought into this. Well, speaking of a lot of thought into one, the next one is from Tom E. Key. 5 stars. The title of this one is Cool.
Wait a minute. Is it Tom E. K. or Tommy K?
Tom E. Key. I don't know. Tom or Toomey Key. Tome Kai.
Definitely not Toomey. I think it's Tommy. Tommy Key.
Well, it's entitled Cool, and it says, and I quote, cool. So that's a good 5-star review. I mean, hey, I'll take it.
Hey, I'm a lazy motherfucker, too, so I still respect it. All right, and I'll take the last one. And I love reading these things, and so does my esteemed colleague here, so we need some new ones. But I'm going to go with the last one. And this is a 5-star review, and thumbs up. And this is from, how do you say this? You said it earlier.
That's Jay Zabluski.
Zabluski. All I can think of is fucking Animal House, Mr. Blutowski. Well, anyway, this is from our Polish friend who says, and I quote, name alone makes it worth listening to. And, hey, I love that. We either have the best name ever or the worst name ever.
Yeah, there's not a lot in between.
I was laughing. I was watching this thing on YouTube, and it was people discussing the top, they were ranking the Slayer albums, worst to best.
Nice.
And it was 4 people doing it, and 3 of them picked Diablos and Musica as the worst one. I'm like, yes, we're named after the worst Slayer album. Not in my opinion, mind you. Not in my opinion. But,
nice.
And I love what Chris Senzak said. He goes, you got a podcast nobody can find because they can't fucking spell it. I was like, shit, when the Polac's making sense, you're in trouble. But,
yeah, it's easier to find Senzak than it is to find Diablos and Podcastica.
You ought to see how Senzak is spelled in my fucking phone. It's Sin and hyphen Zach.
Nice.
Because I have no fucking idea. Too many fucking consonants in there for me. I don't know.
He has not one but 2 Z's in his last name. I don't even know how that's possible.
Oh, shit. Well, thank you, though. Thank you, guys, for those reviews. Whether they be long and humorous or simple and to the point, the point is the more reviews we have, the better we look, and, when the world gets back on its feet, we can start making money off you guys, in this podcast. This all helps. This all helps. I'm too pretty to work. I should just get paid to be on here and tell my leftist views and dick jokes. God damn it.
I will give one Facebook review since we're down. We're down to these, but I'll give it Renee Allingham Sorensen recommends the Diablo Sun Podcastica. There are other great podcasts out there, maybe brilliant, I don't know. Time will show. But this podcast is tremendously great. It's a very strong and powerful podcast, hosted by two very high-Q individuals who knows what they are talking about. Oh, shit. You say the high IQ individuals, and I can't even read it properly. It's a very strong, powerful podcast hosted by two very high IQ individuals who knows what they're talking about and always use the best words. There are nothing like the horrible fake news media or lamestream media, as I call them. Listen to me. Some people have called me a stable genius, and check this podcast out. 5 out of 5.
I love Renee. Has been a long-time listener of mine on my previous show, and he's one of the great posters on our page and stuff. Awesome guy. I appreciate that. I just wish I could go on her page. I have no idea how to figure out the page that you run. I don't know what's wrong with me. I get shit that like people have liked it, and I clicked on it. And I have no idea where I'm going or what to do. I just hit back, and I just get mad and I sit there and I'm like, I'm never listening to Cheap Trick again.
Damn yous.
God damn Black Tuesday. Why gotta be black? Oh fuck.
All right, man. You got some news?
Oh shit. I don't know. I mean, is there any fucking news?
It's the news.
Well, here you go. James Hetfield is the table. One-of-a-kind coffee tables built by the Metallica frontman. The last 2 months have been a time for many to learn new skills or revisit hobbies left behind in a busy world. Metallica frontman James Hetfield has done a little of both. A longtime vintage car enthusiast, James has been restoring classic cars for many years and has honed his welding skills while doing so. To expand on those skills, along with developing a new creative outlet, he has built a pair of one-of-a-kind coffee tables, dubbed the COVID Collection by J.H. So for a $10 donation, you get one entry into this little raffle for these tables, and all the proceeds go to the All Within My Hands Foundation, and funded by the Metallica Scholars Initiative. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna head over there and give me a donation. I'm gonna win these tables for myself.
How about if I donate 50 and you write the thrash song?
For every $10, you get a one credit for this thing, and the first thing is the denomination is $25. That's not how this works, people.
And this goes to the All Within My Hands charity. What is that? Is that for kids who suffer chronic masturbation?
Yes.
I have no idea what that's about. All right. Here's a fucking funny story. Because you want to talk about fake news. The beginning of this headline's fake news. It says actress Tawny Katane. Actress Tawny Katane looks back on the Whitesnake Here I Go Again video. So this fucking hose beast was interviewed by some podcast that's not us, so who gives a shit. But she's talking about basically how she wasn't originally supposed to be the Whitesnake girl in those videos.
Right.
7 album. It was going to be Claudia Schiffer, who old people like me might remember, was the Guess Jeans girl, and she was a hot piece of ease back in the day. But Tawny Katane finagled her way into doing it, and she said she was part of mixing that album. Like she was in the studio and she was picking like the best tracks to use, and she picked the album cover, and like I would have bragged about that. That's a shitty album cover, especially by Whitesnake standards. They had some decent album covers before that one, but what a hooah. And and she was saying she implemented that there was no girls allowed backstage at Whitesnake concerts on that tour. Fuck you. Maybe Rudy Sarzo wants. Yeah, Rudy Sarzo wants some pussy. God
right.
damn, this is like the only chance Tommy Aldridge has to get laid, and you're gonna fuck it up. What a fucking bitch. And oh God, what else? She said some other stupid shit. Oh, she said at the time she had more money than David Coverdale, and she was supporting him. And this is just a first-rate hooah here. And I mean, she was fucking Robin Crosby, cheated on him with O.J. Simpson. Then she starts fucking David Coverdale, and then she beats up her fucking baseball player husband with her fucking high heels. And most importantly, David Lee Roth said she is a total fucking cunt and a scumbag. And if my Lord and Savior doesn't like her, fuck her. Fucking cunt. I mean, she was in Bachelor Party, so I'll give her that. Bachelor Party's a great fucking movie. And I even own Witchboard on Blu-ray. I ain't proud of it, but I do. Unless she goes black on Tuesday. But, now that OJ's out, anything's possible. But fuck Tawny Katane. What a bitch. What a bitch. I'm so glad that David Coverdale stopped selling albums that she left him. All right, what you got?
So this actually comes from the Talk To Me podcast. I had not one but two blabbermouth headlines this week. So
yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. But it's funny, as I interviewed the bass player from Lamb of God. Like, I got offered it on Monday. It was like, hey, can you talk to him tomorrow? And I was like, sure. It's one of those like bands I've always wanted to have on the show, and finally got a member of the band on. But the bass player, John Campbell, talking about the vocalist Randy Bly. We were talking about his lyrics and kind of where they come from, and he's kind of political. He's got some political takes, and they actually fit into almost what's going on right now. So it was kind of very, very bizarre how interchangeable some of his lyrics were. But the one thing that the headline was, Lamb of God's John Campbell says Randy Bly has, quote unquote, developed incredibly over the years as a writer and a performer. But I thought the better line from this thing was he says, and I think he's become I think he's developed incredibly over the years as a writer and performer. Take the beer bottle out of his hand, and the dude actually has some really amazing things to contribute to society, which is also what I say about Ian Wadley.
What? Well, I'll tell you what, though. I do appreciate that you save all these star interviews for your other show, so it doesn't distract away from my scary talent.
Yeah.
So I can be I can be the star here. You save all those music stars for your other show. This is just an outlet for my bullshit.
Well, I think Sinzak really wanted you to interview the when I had the Waco survivor on, David Thibodeau. He was like, "Man, you should have let Ian loose on him." And I was like, "I don't know about that one."
Oh, you should have. You should have. I found out about that after the fact, because I would have got the great Whitesnake stories. There, that would have been even better than Tawny Katane, because I don't know where you're getting your information, but what I've heard for years, his favorite band was Whitesnake, and I would have got some great Whitesnake stories.
There you
go. All right. Rats commercial for Geico has already aired more than 10,000 times. And that's funny, because I only remember seeing it 9,000 times. Holy shit. I love me some fucking Rat. One of my favorite fucking cock rock bands. But I'm already sick of this commercial. Especially because it's Scab Rat,
Right.
There's nothing worse than seeing another drummer in Bobby Blotzer makeup. That's really bad. But something I did see today, which I found kind of funny and telling of the times. it says that Round and Round is now a top 20 song again. But
yeah, it was almost top 10.
How is it top, like as far as downloads? I mean, it can't be as far as radio play. Is this like some kind of Spotify chart or some shit? Do you know? I don't know.
I'm reading through it right now to see if it kind of breaks it down. But I mean, I know it's Spotify plays, all that stuff does, jump into the equation now. So, Variety reported that the ad had aired more than 10,000 times since its debut in April and has been viewed more than 8 million times on YouTube. It's estimated that more than $20 million has been spent on the campaign. There's a really cool grandma that lives next door to us, and she goes for walks, Rat singer Stephen Piercy said. One day, I'm out there, and she goes, "Are you in a commercial?" And I said, "How would you know that?" She goes, "Well, you have a lot of energy." And I'm thinking, all right, that's what a national commercial means. It's ironic because in 1984, it was the year of the rat in the Chinese calendar, and it's the year of the rat in 2020. What goes around comes around. No pun intended.
Oh, boy.
Boy.
Oh, boy.
You know, 10,000 airing 10,000 times doesn't honestly seem like that much for a commercial.
Yeah, because I've seen the general car insurance commercials with
Right.
Shaq. Way more. But oh man, it's one of those things. It's a double-edged sword. I love to see Rat get exposure, but it's not my Rat. You know, where's no Warren DeMartini. I'm sorry, no Rat to me. I'll overlook Juan Crouchier's bad dancing and his bandana. But, oh boy. But you know what? If this gets other kids listening to Rat, other than, like they stop listening to Migos and they listen to Rat, I'm like, cool. Fucking A. I love Rat, but that ain't my Rat. But it's better than this next story. Holy bejesus. And I think we talked about this before. I think you're a fan of this band as well, but I think you kind of checked out like I did. The fucked up thing is, since we've been recording this show, I've been relatively sober, but it doesn't help my memory at all. You like Power Man 5000, right?
Yeah, I do. I do enjoy some Power Man.
Okay, holy moly! Did you watch the new video?
I have not watched it yet. No.
Black lipstick. If you're a fan of the band, I would say don't. Man. I think we talked about this before. I always check out a new Power Man 5000. I'm never going to say that they were like a revolutionary band or they did this or that, but I can't help it, dude. I love Mega Kung Fu Radio or the Mega Kung Fu album and shit.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of Stars, Revolt. But after that, it's like, but I check out every new album. And, they got a new album coming out called The Noble Rot. I believe it's coming out in August. As of now, it's coming out in August if we're still alive by then. But he said, this is the first song I wrote for the album, and it really set the tone for the album. I was like, okay, interesting. Watch the video. In the video, they're making fun of Top of the Pops, and it's like a chick goth band singing and shit. And he goes, I channeled my inner Peter Murphy for this song. And, for those kids who don't know Peter Murphy, that's Bajas and shit like that. I love all that gay shit, by the way. Love Bajas. And yeah, he is. He's doing his like best Peter Murphy like singing voice impersonation. The song is fucking horrible. It is fucking horrible. The video, which he brags about directing, is amateur at best. And it's just like, god damn. Could you just do another song that's cool like Neckbone? Neckbone to backbone. It's like, god damn, if you could just do another Neckbone, I'd be happy.
Give me some 20 miles to Texas, 25 to hell.
25 to hell! Hell yeah, I love it. Even Superman shot himself. God damn, give me another one of those. But I don't know what the fuck he's doing now. And, you know, God bless him. He's still trying to rock the same fucking hairdo with David Lee Roth hairline. And, it's like, whoo, boy, I hope he made some good investments. Yeah, doesn't do much for me. But I'm still going to download the new album.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Also in the category of things that we do not need is a former Skid Row and Saigon Kick drummer Phil Varone's autobiographical movie and soundtrack is due in October. Like, who needs a Phil Varone autobiography in a movie?
It's entitled Pictures of My Dick.
Yeah.
It's like, just go back to doing porn. You got a big dick, go with what works for you, man. Because nobody wants you as a drummer.
There's a funny quote in this article. It says, "I did a short couple of days with the Bullet Boys, which I did quit after 2 days because the singer is the worst human on the earth and just a pathetic sack of garbage."
I'm never listening to Bullet Boys again.
Screw you, Saigon Kick.
My last story of the day is, it's the passing of Bob Kulick. Who it's Grammy award winning Bob Kulick. And, I make jokes, but, hey, I didn't wish the guy death or nothing. I mean, fuck, he played one of my favorite Kiss solos of all time that I thought was Ace Frehley. And the one thing I really feel bad about is, he passed away and him and Bruce were fighting. And that sucks. Like, all seriousness, I mean, they were brothers, and, it seemed like it was pretty bitter, it was goddamn restraining orders and shit involved at the end. And, that sucks, and it really sucks for Bruce, because, whenever somebody dies, the people who are still around are the ones who have to deal with it.
Right.
So, I feel bad for Bruce Kulick. Bruce always seems like a cool dude. I know I rag on Kiss all the time. I'll always love Kiss and I love Bruce Kulick. It's unfortunate. The real unfortunate thing though is apparently now Ace has to play his own guitar on his shitty solo albums because Bob isn't there to save him anymore.
Well, you can always call Tommy.
Yeah, but Tommy can't do it as good as Bruce did. But I did hear on the new Ace Origins cover album that there will be 18 in Life now, or Hold On to 18, whatever the fuck fucking Black and Blue did. God damn. Poor Bob Kulick. At least he died with a Grammy, because someday I'm going to die and I'm never going to have a Grammy. I don't know. I don't even have an honorable mention at Rockin' Pod, What the fuck's going to be on my tombstone? Pepperoni? I don't know.
Weren't you the podcast king?
Yeah, a long time ago. You could
put that on your tombstone.
Yeah. Here lies Ian. He was better than a lot of other shitty podcasts. Rest in peace.
I think Decibel Geek has like a 12-part series coming out talking about Bob.
Oh my God! Yeah, it'll be Christmas in July.
Bobmas in July.
Oh my God!
It's funny if you go back. I remember when they had Bob on the podcast, and that was one of the more bizarre interviews I've heard because, like, they wanted to talk about Kiss. And Bob wanted to talk about like the Yankees. They weren't having a conversation. They were just kind of talking at each other.
Yeah, he seemed like a weird individual. I mean, talented. You know, he played guitar, but just I kind of got the vibe of a bitter man. Somebody with talent, but was never able to make it on his own or get recognized. I guess I identify with that. but Yeah, I mean, it still sucks, the guy died, but 70's a good life. Can't bitch,
Yeah.
I'll be goddamn lucky if I reach 70. But again, I really feel bad for him being at odds when he passed away. 'Cause, nobody wants to see that shit. But,
yeah, I mean, that's always rough, especially when, some of that stuff could be whatever he was going through that killed him, that kind of start messing with your mind and your emotions and your judgment and things like that. So, I mean, no telling. I don't know the cause of death, but they could have been kind of a contributing factor into the way that he reacted towards his brother.
Right. But, in his honor, from now on, every time I listen to a Kiss song, I'll take a knee because I don't know who's playing on the shit anyway. Oh, my
God. I'm never listening to this podcast again.
Never. Fuck Cheap Trick.
Assholes. All right, so album of the week.
Album review.
Album of the week. All right. Well, as I talked about earlier in this show, I originally had a hate-filled episode. And I said, I don't feel right about this. Anything else you want to talk about? And you said classic Metallica. And knowing you, I got scared. I was like, we're talking 80s Metallica, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, Ride the Lightning. Now, this would be the first thing I ever heard from Metallica, and I've talked about this before, was the song "Fight Fire with Fire." I heard on the way to my cousin's funeral, and I had heard about Metallica, and I heard oh my God, there's nothing heavier than this band, But keep in mind, this is when I'm listening to fucking, Kiss Asylum and fucking Cinderella and shit like that, like that's fucking heavy to me, And I hear, the beginning of Fight Fire with Fire, I was like, that ain't that heavy. And then it kicked in, it scared the living shit out of me. I was like, oh, fuck that shit. That ain't even music, that's noise. Oh my God. And I didn't listen to them again until I bought Master of Puppets. I bought Master of Puppets shortly after it came out. And then I got it. But it's funny, it was the same thing when I bought Master of Puppets. I'll never forget going to the mall with my dad. And I was like, I got to get into these guys because that's all fucking hip raiders talking about. And so I bought Master of Puppets. And even though my dad still had to do shopping, I was like, give me the keys to the car so I could run in the car and pop the tape in because I bought it on cassette. I got to hear this. And I hear the beginning of Battery. I was like, yeah, these guys ain't that hard. And then Battery kicked in. I'm like, oh, fuck, oh my God, what is this? What is this? This ain't Tears Are Falling. Which is that Bruce Kulick or Bob Kulick? I don't know. Who knows?
Probably both of them.
Who knows? It was probably fucking Mark St. John. But anyway, but then I was hooked. From Master of Puppets, oh my God, first day buyer for, the original Garage Days. Well, Garage Days revisited. Not that Garage ain't fucking crap. But, Metallica. Oh my God.
Yeah, here you go again. Let's talk about Ride the Lightning. All right. Well, then I bought Master of Puppets.
No. But what I'm getting at though is, I got fully into that, but then I went back.
Yeah.
And I got, Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All. I got Ride the Lightning first before I got Kill 'Em All. But Ride the Lightning has always been my favorite. And I kind of go back and forth with what's the best. And a lot of times I lean like Master of Puppets might be their best record overall. But Ride the Lightning will always be my favorite. And there's just, I don't know, there's just something about Ride the Lightning. I think it's a perfect blend of, you know, they took what they had with Kill 'Em All, experimented with Ride the Lightning, you know, and then, you know, to me they really became Metallica with Master of Puppets. But it's just like the perfect middle ground of thrash, but you can see them kind of spreading their wings a little bit. I think every track is stellar. I love the production of it. I think Flem and Rasmussen did an amazing job.
Yeah, this one sounds good. James's voice is really, really cool on this one too.
Sounds so good. Might be, I mean, Master's awesome, but I don't know. This might be my favorite James vocal. You know, it's. I love what he did on Kill 'Em All, but it's like the perfect mix on this one of raw and like expanded. I don't know. It's a perfect fucking thrash metal album. I really love it.
You know, we kind of talked about this on the last episode with talking about them kind of just catapulting to the top so fast. You know, they started the band in 81 and then released Kill 'Em All in 83. And then exactly a year later, they released Ride the Lightning. They'd only been a band for 3 years at this time. And they're already, you know, putting out just these insane classics.
Yeah. Well, that's what's great about this show is how raw we are. Imagine if we tried. We'd probably really suck. We'd be like 90s Metallica.
Right.
You know? But, I mean, this is just, it's so good. And I was listening to it today, like, you know, I text you about doing this while I'm on the way home. And as soon as we decided on this, I was like, okay, put on Ride the Lightning. And just, it stands up so fucking good, musically, lyrically, production. I mean, it's just a timeless fucking record. I mean, it sounds just as good to me today. And I've heard these songs thousands of times. And there wasn't a burnout. I mean, it just sounded fucking amazing. I came home and listened to it again. I mean, it's just killer. I mean, I think we might have talked about this before too. What was your first Metallica? The Black Album?
I had heard Justice a little bit, and then the Black Album grabbed me. And then I did a huge deep dive, and that's all I listened to was Metallica for like 2 years.
Okay, but what did you think though when? Okay, so I mean, you really become a Metallica fan with the Black Album. Was the older shit? Was it easy for you to digest, or did you get it right? You know, did you get it right away, or was it like, you know, this is different than the Black Album? What was it like for you?
Honestly, never really thought about it.
Well, I mean, because being quite honest, even when I got into them, when I first, you know, it took me a while to get into Kill 'Em All, you know, because it was just too like raw and chaotic, you know. But you know, again, I'm like fucking 12, 13 years old,
right?
You know? But it was just like, well, you know, it took me a while to appreciate it. But you know, I've kind of wondered that because, you know, a lot of bands, you know, when you get into them, like Kiss is a weird one. Like I got into Kiss when they were being like metal Kiss, you know, and then you go back and like, you know, the other shit's like listening to bubblegum pop rock, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it was harder, but in your case with Metallica, you know, you go back, that shit's way heavier than what you're used to. You know, were you like, I don't get this, or you're like, oh, this is amazing?
Well, I think I'm going to be more on the side of this is amazing because it all kind of coincides with me buying a bass for the first time too. So a lot of the first stuff I ever learned on bass was Cliff stuff, and Cliff and Jason and were huge into me buying a bass. You know, so getting a bass and then like just diving into, you know, Orion, and I think the first song I ever played from start to finish was For Whom the Bell Tolls, you know, things like that. So I mean, I dove into the old stuff very quickly.
But you know, that's interesting because you know, I was a failed drummer, and then you know, ended up being a failed guitar player, and Metallica inspired me to play bass because I listened to Justice for All, and I was like, you don't even have to do anything. You know? You just got to stand there and bang your fucking head. You know,
when I bought I used to buy all the tab books, and you know, you're going through and you can hear what's going on, and you read along and you play along. I remember I got the Justice for All tab book, and I'm like, what are they talking about? They were like the bass line for One. If you watch the One video, Jason's doing some crazy shit, but you can't hear it. But that crazy shit's also in the tab book, and you're like, I don't know what he's doing here. Like, I don't think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's somebody's interpretation. Like, if there was bass on this album, this is what I would play.
Right.
I was a tab guy too, though. When I was playing guitar, oh my god, I would buy I got a tab Kiss book. I got all kinds of shit. Tab was the way to play because like I couldn't read music. I could read drum music because when I was younger and I was in band, you know, I learned how to read drumming music. But you know, by the time I started playing guitar, I was too cool for band. So I was like, I don't know how to read this shit. Oh, give me tab. That shows me the string and the finger and all that shit. There's a great cheat sheet.
I've always been a very visual learner. Like if someone shows me how to play it or I watch someone play it, I can normally pick it up really quick. So with YouTube has been a revelation. And, you know, I'll go down I was talking about this the other day about, you know, going down the Dave Ellefson rabbit hole and just watching him play bass and like just playing those bass lines along with him. And you're like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. But yeah, it's fun to sit with YouTube and just go like, all right, I want to learn how to play blah, blah, blah. And you type it in and the next thing you know, you're playing God of Thunder or something.
So how do you feel about Ride the Lightning? Where would you rank that in as far as classic Metallica?
You know, it's fun. It's one of those albums that it's not a go-to album, but when you get to it, it's like a banger from start to finish. You know, it's you know, I don't think about it like, all right, I'm going to listen to Metallica, I'm going to put on Ride the Lightning. But if you stumble upon some Ride the Lightning songs, you're like, oh my God, like, you know, like you said, Ride the Lightning, the song, Fight Fire with Fire, you know, Creeping Death has probably been played at every Metallica show since this album came out. And even, you know, the sleepers on here, Trapped Under Ice and even Escape. I know that Metallica as a band do not like this song, but I always thought Escape was pretty good.
Is it Metallica that doesn't like it or just James? I've always seen James bitch about it.
You know, I never thought about it like that. I'm sure is there any other voice that really matters, you know, when it comes to not liking a song and wanting to play it?
Well, you know, let's be honest. There's only two voices of Metallica, and that's Lars and James.
Right.
But, man, I was listening to Escape today, and I love Escape. I'm like, fuck. I mean, you know, he rags on that song, but it's like, compared to the shit they did in the 90s, it's like a fucking war ensemble. You know?
Right.
It's like, God damn. And I thought it was funny that, you know, you brought up let's pick some classic Metallica. Because today on the Diablos group page, somebody posted about Load. I don't know if it was like the anniversary or when it was released or whatever.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
I was like, oh, you know, what a load of shit, you know. But I do know there's certain people, and they even said so, you know, in the comments section, like, this is when I discovered Metallica. And I know, you know, my son was one of those. You know, when he got into Metallica was when Load came out and Reload, you know, he was really young. But that was his Metallica. Now, of course, now he loves, you know, the older Metallica more, but he still loves the Load shit where I still can't do it. I'm just like, it's so bad and so far removed. And I went back, like, after I listened to Ride the Lightning twice today. I was like, let me go back to Hardwired, because I listened to it a lot when it first came out, and I haven't revisited it since. And I went back and I was like, yeah, like the first song, Hardwired, I was like, yeah. But the production, is just way too clean compared to, the Fleming Rasmussen era Metallica. They're playing a harder song. It's closer to thrash than, Black Album through Saint Anger and shit like that. But it's like, Metallica shouldn't sound like a fucking Paul Abdul record. You know what I mean?
Right.
It shouldn't be that pristine. There should be some grit. And I thought Fleming Rasmussen's production, while I thought it, definitely a step up over the production of Kill 'Em All, was the perfect blend of, capturing the instruments, but there's just a rawness to it that's missing on the new shit, and I like Death Magnetic. And, I think I made it like 4 songs into fucking Hardwired before we started recording. But it's like, yeah, I hear, like, their heart's the right place, but it needs to be raw. Thrash should be raw,
Well, yeah, I kind of give you that, but I mean, you got to think of the last couple of Testament albums too. They aren't necessarily raw, but it's some of the best stuff they've ever done. So I think it's a kind of a case by case basis, maybe.
I don't know, but I would say there's some crisp production on Testament stuff, but I don't know. It's still, even though it's a more modern production, there's still a rawness to it that when I listen to Death Magnetic and I listen to Hardwired, it's just, I don't know, too polished.
Yeah, I need to go back and check out Death Magnetic again. I did wear out Hardwired when it came out. I mean, I think that if I was to put together a decent, 20-track playlist of Metallica, I think Spit Out the Bone is definitely going to be on there.
Oh, Spit Out the Bone is I mean, that's the best thing they've done since fucking Injustice. I mean, hands down, that is the best song they've recorded since Injustice.
And honestly, even though, and I get it, I think a lot of Metallica hardcores fell off on the Black Album, but that's another one. If you get into those deep cuts, side 2 cuts, The God That Failed, My Friend of Misery, Through the Never, Don't Tread on Me, The Struggle, all those like side 2 tracks, it's pretty damn heavy. Even Holier Than Thou, like if you just throw on Holier Than Thou, you'd be like, damn, it's a good ass song.
Yeah, I mean, side 2 is definitely better than side 1, but it's still it's that fucking Bob Rock production.
Yeah,
that like, and Bob Rock has his place. Like, I love the Blue Murder album that he produced, and it's great for that style of music. But that's more of a polished hard rock sound. I think Metallica needs to be raw.
And that's what makes Garage Days so good. And even I know not all of Garage Inc. is great, but there's some standouts on there too. And just the thing I
think there's some great performances on Garage Inc. that are just too fucking polished. I always call it like somebody sprayed pledge on it and cleaned it with that terry cloth and shit. No, it should be raw. It should be dirty. But I don't necessarily mean like bad production, but but to me, a modern producer who gets it is Andy Sneap.
Right.
Does a great job. And, somebody who's got his foot in the old school but still does modern shit is Terry Date. Is another, Terry Date always made Pantera sound amazing. And technically it was very precise production, but it kept that rawness at the same time. Where I think Metallica's losing that in the modern, even though they're getting back to a harder style music, they need the production that matches it. But it's kind of like, maybe they're trying to go, definitely with Death Magnetic, they went with Rick Rubin to do the flavor of the month. And, I still think he's more suited for them than Bob Rock, but, the sound on Death Magnetic was definitely brick walled. But I mean, that album, aside from two tracks, I love Death Magnetic. I really, I was really happy when that came out, and I felt like finally Metallica's back. Just take away fucking Unforgiven 47 and that horrible Day That Never Comes song. Other than that, I thought it was a damn good album. And, Hardwired, I think, definitely should have been a single album, not a double. But, give me some more spit out the bone shit, but still a raw production. But, you get me off course here. You're talking about Ride the Lightning.
On Spotify, like I told you a while back, they put all those, the box set. You can get all the extras on Spotify. Yeah. So I was listening. When I listened to Ride the Lightning, it just kind of kept going. And some of the first stuff in the box set is a live from the Hollywood Palladium show they did in 86.
Yeah, that's the second disc. Yeah,
and the Fight Fire with Fire, it's so bad. I don't know how they put it out, but the intro, James and Lars are not on the same page coming in, and it's just like, it's like James hits the heart, hits the note, and then Lars hits the crash, and you're just like, what the hell's going on here? But that just shows you that Metallica just fuck it, throw it out there. Who gives a shit? We're Metallica.
Yeah. Well, they know they can put out anything and people buy it. It was called Load and Reload. But no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Metallica's one of those bands. It's it's weird how a band can be one of your favorite bands of all time and one of your least favorite bands of all time.
Well, that's I've said, I got into Metallica, hardcore into Metallica on the Black Album. That was my band. I was 12, when the Black Album came out. So I was just in it to win it, And then all through middle school and high school, man, I'm just on the Metallica train. And then Load comes out in 96 with that terrible album cover. They've changed the logo. They're writing songs as soon as I heard Ain't My Bitch, I was out. I'm done.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I know it was fucking to go to Jock Jam.
Right.
It's Metallica available at GNC, not gluten free.
Yeah, and I did see them on, I believe, the Cunning Stunt Store or whatever year that would have been, right around that time with COC, I think, open for them. And obviously I was going to go because I enjoy Metallica, but it was I saw them for the first time in 93 on when Live Shit Binge and Purge came out, that they called it, I think, the Shit Hit the Sheds tour. And I found the actual show that I went to, and whoever was recording the show had to have been 2 seats down from me, because it's almost my exact vantage point from the show. But it's the most bizarre looking period of Metallica. Lars still kind of looks like Black Album Lars, but this is post James getting burned up, so he's got that weird mullet that he had for a little bit, the flat top mullet. Jason's got the shaved head with he's super grungy, got the brown cargo shorts on with a tan extra large shirt. Just doesn't look right. And then Kirk had dreadlocks for a minute with a labrae spike piercing. It's a all around just terrible look.
I call that Hetfield. That was the El DeBarge era fucking Hetfield. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's when he went super hunting guy and wearing camo, and it's just so bad.
Where would you put take the Load Reload era? How would you compare that to Saint Anger? What's your Saint Anger?
See, I would take Load and Reload any day over Saint Anger. I did hear a podcast that broke down Saint Anger recently and like went song by song, and I really think that if that's just that snare was gone, it would be a much better listen.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's some moments. There's a lot of moments on that album that are good, but there's not a whole song.
I would still take Saint Anger over Load and Reload, but that's not to absolve the sins of Saint Anger. But I love All Within My Hands. I thought that was a great way to end the album because it ended it on some hope. Like, ooh, I see potential in this.
Yeah.
A different drummer, I see potential. And you could kind of see them getting back. And I think that they definitely did better with Death Magnetic, and then even better with Hardwired, even though I think it should have been a single album. But
I was working in a store that sold CDs in 2008 when Death Magnetic came out, and we got a ton of them in, and we had like a T-shirt and a CD sale, $5 each or something, and we played Death Magnetic over and over all day. And I was so pumped to see the old logo back, the longer songs back. I definitely need to go back and listen to it again just to kind of refresh my memory on the songs themselves. But I remember that day just being like, this is a fucking day. Metallica's back, baby.
Right. They weren't a bitch no more.
Right. Get my fuel, get my fire.
Like, oh my God. Jock Jam. It's like you expect to hear that and then CNC Music Factory after it.
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, I mean it is weird with Metallica, man, because when I was coming up, I mean it really was like you were a dirtbag if you wore a Metallica shirt. I remember buying the fucking Metal Up Your Ass Glow in the Dark T-shirt. It was new. And that was like a big thing. You wore that. That was you listened to Metallica. And then you fast forward, by the Black Album, then the football team likes Metallica.
Right.
But I can never turn my back like 100% on them because it's like, look what they did, but then it's like, look what they became. And I pretty much, I blame everything on One, even though I still love One. I think One's a great song, but it's like, One was the first video, and One was where they saw if they tuned it down a little bit, they could get more acceptance. And then it just seemed like, and then once they got acceptance and record sales, wanted more. And they wanted more. But in hindsight, if you go back, and you listen to the Big Four, Metallica was always, in my opinion, the softest of the Big Four. And the most melodic and radio friendly, especially post, Kill 'Em All. I mean, they pretty much start the scene with Kill 'Em All. Even though, like we talked about last, you got to credit Exodus for starting, thrash and all that. But I'm talking about like releasing it, people hearing it. But I mean, look at the difference between Kill 'Em All and you go to Ride the Lightning, where they have stuff like Fade to Black and Call of Cthulhu and even stuff like For Whom the Bell Tolls takes it down a notch. Compare that to Slayer. Compare that, to the first couple of Megadeth albums. Even Anthrax. I mean, you listen to Among the Living. There's more straight out thrash on there. But I don't know, it's just like feel like Tony Iommi creates heavy metal guitar. And then he just decides, oh, I want to play flamenco jazz. It's like, what? No, you created this. You got to do this. And Metallica just, I don't know. I just chased the almighty dollar, but I guess don't know. I guess it's hard when you become the biggest metal band in the world, which really they are. You know, I mean, as much Black Sabbath created and all this stuff. I think you would have to honestly say that Metallica is probably the biggest metal band of all time.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the biggest bands, period. Even Dave Ellefson has said it many a time. There's not a big three or big four. There's a big one.
Right. And he's right about that. But it's like, no matter what we do, and that you hate, or shit like that, it's like, how do you hate Ride the Lightning?
Right.
How do you hate on Kill 'Em All? How do you hate on Master of Puppets? And even though there's some people who whine about Injustice for All, I don't see how you hate on that. I love Injustice for All. I fucking love it.
That's great.
And it's one of those things where I kind of see where they kind of destroy their legacy, but at the same time they can't. It's set in stone. I mean, they thrash metal, Metallica, even though they abandoned it. They abandoned what they created.
Yeah.
Fucking Ride the Lightning.
So, what's your final thought on Ride the Lightning?
My final thought is it's the awesome Jan. It's the awesome Peter Brady. It's the middle child, of that holy trinity. I mean, that's something everybody can agree upon. Like whether or not what you think of Injustice for All, like nobody can say anything bad about Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets. But I think this is the most perfect middle ground. You have that element of rawness from Kill 'Em All, but you see where they're heading to and Master, and just, I don't know, Ride, it's funny you say it's not your go-to. It is my go-to. I just love that color. I love the lightning hitting that blue fucking Metallica logo. I mean, one of the greatest logos of all time is the true Metallica logo.
I will say that this is probably my favorite version of the logo.
Oh yeah, I mean it looks stunning. I mean, even I'm looking at it right now. I got my iTunes up because I was listening to and I'm just looking. I was like, God, how metal is that? I mean, and it's an era you'll never see again. And it's an era I was glad I was there for. And I don't know. It's Metallica Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I love it.
The one thing I think that this one is, it's leaps and bounds musically better than Kill 'Em All. Like it's, Cliff's influence is all over this album. His bass playing is all over this album. Some of the greatest bass lines ever. Call of Cthulhu, where he's just making his bass sound like a monster. It's
my favorite Metallica instrumental, which I take nothing away from Orion. Like my son swears by Orion, and I'm a Call of Cthulhu guy. But can't fault either. They're both awesome choices.
And to think that people, when they heard the intro to Fight Fire with Fire, they're like, "Oh, these fucking posers," and then they have to hear Fade to Black, and you're just like, I'd love to see the guys that thought that the intro to Fight Fire with Fire was a poser track, and then Fade to Black comes on.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, I was like, "Oh, this ain't so bad," and then I pissed myself.
Your dad came out to the car and you're just crying in the fetal position, like, "Dad, turn it off, turn it off."
I don't. It scares me. I want to go home and listen to Night Songs.
Hey, that Night Songs, that's pretty terrifying too.
Yeah, great album and a good pick. You pick you say classic Metallica. I don't think you can go wrong with Ride the Lightning. And I'm sure there's nobody listening to this that hasn't heard it. But fuck it, go home and listen to it again. It's fucking awesome.
All right, let's do some something old, something new. What you got?
Something old, something new.
All right. Well, my something old this week. I mean, it's new. It just came out, but it's a re-release of something old. And I've been waiting for this for fucking months because it got delayed because all the COVID shit. But it's a new box set out by Iggy Pop called the Bowie Years. It brings the two albums that Iggy Pop did with David Bowie, the Idiot and Lust for Life. Plus, it brings like some demos and some live albums. I believe it's like a five album or 5 CD box set. Unfortunately, I don't think it's being released right now in vinyl, which is how I would want it. I think you can get like the studio albums you can get separately vinyl remastered, but the box set itself is only available on CD. If I'm buying something, I'm buying it on vinyl. But anyway, enough about my pretentious ass. These two albums, I mean, I'm a huge Iggy Pop fan. I was raised on Iggy Pop. Whoever remastered this shit, it's amazing. I've been listening to both these albums, quite honestly. I mean, I just turned 46 a month ago. I've been trying to listen to these albums for 40 years. And I've never, ever heard them sound better. And I'm hearing all kinds of shit that I never, ever heard before. Like, wow. You know, it just really blew my mind. The clarity of it, how good it sounds, different shit in the background. I mean, very different from what Iggy did with the Stooges, you know, and this is him, like, trying to get fucking clean, hanging out with David Bowie, you know, and kick heroin while they're in Berlin in the late 70s. Just amazing albums. And the whole box set's great. The live shows, I think, are really good. They also have a live album that Iggy released called TBI, which is from the Lust for Life tour. And David Bowie toured with him on that and played keyboards and did background vocals. He just said, fuck it, I'm going on tour with Iggy Pop. That sounds great, but also the bootleg concerts sound really good. But it, you know, it's not polished or anything like that. It's just really good, cleaned up bootlegs. But it has enough clarity to, like, you know, it sounds decent, but it's not overproduced, if you know what I mean. I mean, you still know you're listening to a bootleg, but they're very listenable at the same time. Great, great box set. I can't recommend enough. Iggy Pop, the Bowie Years. That is my something old.
My something old is actually was spurred by not to keep going back to my interviews that I had on the other show, but I had JP from Clutch on, and they did a really great cover of a Creedence song. Which one did they do? They did Fortunate Son, which is, you know, kind of a lot of trying times. So I was kind of listening to that, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and listen to Creedence, because I'll go through a little CCR. A little CCR moment here and there, and I went back and, you know, chronicle.
Listening to Buck Owens, looking out my
the 20 greatest hits is a staple of anyone's anyone's CD collection. You have to have it. If you're going to have a barbecue, you better have this album. And it just goes to show, man, just how great John Fogerty was.
Oh yeah, and I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I'm thinking you're going to pick a Creedence album, because I was going to comment and say, like, yeah, everybody knows the fucking hits, but go back and listen to, like, one of the studio albums and hear, like, songs you don't know, and you went the other route. You're like, nah, greatest hits, here you go.
No, you can just go for the greatest hits. You know what? Honestly, I should dive into the other albums and just give them a chance, but it's just one of those, like, Chronicle was just always around. Yeah, like, my dad always played it. My friends always had it. Yeah. It's just like one of those.
Yeah, no, and it's great. I mean, all the songs on that are songs that people know and love. But I also get that, there's certain Creedence songs that people have heard. If you grew up like me on classic rock radio, there's certain songs you just get burned out on. But if you listen to, like, the studio album that it came from, you get not only the songs you know, but, like, a lot of other shit that you haven't heard. And I found this sometimes with songs that I'm burned out on, that it's one thing if you listen to a greatest hits, but if you listen to it, like, on the album it was intended to be heard on, like, you kind of have a different perspective. Like, if I was listening to, like, Zeppelin's greatest hits and Stairway comes on, I'm like, oh, God, I've heard Stairway a fucking million times.
Motherfucking Stairway to Heaven.
Fuck Cheap Trick, But you know what? If I'm listening to Led Zeppelin 4 as a whole, it sounds perfect, and it doesn't bother me as much,
Right.
But no, I mean, Chronicles is a great, especially for maybe some of our younger listeners that aren't as burned out on the shit. Yeah, it's a great introduction. But even for some of our older listeners who are like, yeah, I know Creedence, but I'm somewhat out on that song, go listen to studio albums, because not only are you like, hey, there's some really great songs that you've never heard just because they weren't played a gazillion times on the fucking radio. But Creedence overall was a great band. Great band. And it's another band that they've gone back over the last couple of years and remastered and put out editions that sound really amazing. But, Chronicles, that's a great, starting point, I would say. But I would also recommend people dig deep. That's me pissing on your pick. But great pick, by the way. Great pick.
Yeah, I definitely need to go in and dive. I actually had it on just all play shuffle the other day, and I was just like, man, I really do need to dive into these other tracks.
Yeah, and one thing I would say, I would recommend Cosmo's Factory. I mean, it's a good starting point. If you're, if you like what you hear on Chronicle, and why wouldn't you? Cosmo's Factory would be a great, just put that on and play it like albums were meant to be played from start to finish. And I think people would be blown away. And you still get to hear Run Through the Jungle. But don't all Creedence songs have the same riff? I mean, it's just different variations of the same riff.
Hey, watch your mouth.
But it's a damn good riff, goddamn. Damn good riff.
All right, what's your something new?
All right, well, my something new is a band I just discovered the other day. And, there's a site Mr. X goes to, and it'll give a description of a band. And I found just the description of this band, like, they called it psychedelic noise rock, something other. I was like, oh, man, that just sounds like a weird, let me check this shit out. And this is a band from England, and they're called The Heads. Not to be confused with Talking Heads. But it's one of those weird instances where a description, normally I hate when bands are categorized, like, oh, it's a grunge band, well, grunge can mean a lot of different things, to some people, Candlebox is fucking grunge,
Right.
So it's kind of, I use it as a guide point, but sometimes it's not always accurate. But when I heard, like, psychedelic noise, garage or whatever, boy, boy, did they hit the nail on the head here. This is a band that's put out like fucking 27 albums in like 2 months. I'm exaggerating, but they have a lot of albums. And I've listened to a little bit of everything. But I'm going with their, 2000. So I guess it's not too new, but to an old fuck like me, like 2000.
Man, we're just stretching this new. I thought 10 years was our cutoff.
Yeah, but hey, it's new to me because I never heard this fucking band, and it's new. Those Iggy Pop albums came out in the 70s, so this is new. But new to me and probably new to a lot of people maybe that don't live in England. But their 2000 album, everybody knows We Got Nowhere. Funny pun on but it's weird. It's not for everybody. I'll tell you this straight up. Like, some people are gonna listen to this like, nope, and I'll be like, hey, I get that, but it's weird. I mean, there's like weird samples and not like samples like like in a rap sense, but like weird dialogue from movies mixed in with shit that's like, okay, this song's kind of tuneful and it's got a riff, and some songs are like a cacophony of fucking just weird noises. But to me, it was like really original and really cool, and one of those bands. It's not going to be like a go-to album. Like, there's certain bands that you got to be in the mood for. And I always say, like, I'm like that with the Grateful Dead. I really like the Grateful Dead. But I gotta be in that Grateful Dead mood. If I'm not, it's not gonna work. You got any bands like that? Like, if you're in a certain mood, you dig them, but it's not always a go-to?
Oh, man. I think that most bands are like that, honestly. I think there's like they're mood setters, like, and sometimes it'll, get you from one mood to another, but I think most bands are just kind of a tone setter.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot like no matter what, I love Frank Zappa. No matter what, I love Van Halen. There's shit like that. Like, I don't care if I'm happy, sad, mellow, or hype. They're always good. But some band like perfect example, Grateful Dead. I'm not always in Grateful Dead, but like a Sunday morning, you wake up, you crack a beer, maybe smoke a joint or do something else. Like, hey, I'm gonna put on Dead from '73. Like, I'm in that mood. This is a band like that. Like, this isn't something I would listen to all the time, but when I'm in the mood for something weird and different, I really like these guys. But that is my something new is year 2000, the Head. Everybody knows We Got Nowhere. And one thing I will say, because like I said, they have a vast discography. Not too many of the albums sound the same. They're really kind of all over the place. But I think it's interesting. I love music like that. That's challenging, not like Days of the Dew. Good.
Well, for my something new, I will go with something that's actually kind of new, and I guess it has old elements to it. But the new single from Static X, it's called All These Years.
haven't heard it yet.
I'm not a huge Static X fan. I really liked Wisconsin Death Trip, but I didn't really continue on with the band. I saw them live a few times, met Wayne a few times. Over the years, it's just like not one of those go back to bands because I don't know, they just weren't my band at the time. But I was really skeptical about this whole, like, we found old tracks of Wayne singing, so we're going to throw some music on them and blah, blah, blah. But the video that they put out for the song works. The track that they used is cool. Like, I really enjoyed everything about this latest single from Static X.
Yeah, I mean, Static X, I love, same here. I love Wisconsin Death Trip. The second album, Machine, I didn't really feel. The album after that, I really hated when it first came out. But now I dig it. And then the album after that, I really dug. The one after that, I was like, eh. The one after that, I liked. It was a weird thing with them. And now I really, like, where the fuck are they going to go now? Because they're doing this tour. It's all the original members except somebody else that's kind of dressed up like Wayne Static.
Right.
But, I know some people, and from what I heard, it was Bob Kulick. So I'm like, fuck,
Yeah, now they're down 2 dudes.
Yeah. Now who's gonna play guitar on Ace Frehley's albums, and who's gonna pretend to be Wayne Static? I don't know, but somebody's getting a Grammy post-mortem. But no, I would like to check that out because I saw Static X open up for Power Man 5000.
Well, there you go.
Static X just blew them off the stage. Man. I mean, they were really good live. Really good. I miss that evil disco. I liked some Static X. Little inconsistent, but when they were on, they were fucking on. I dig that shit. That's where I'm all new metal with you, my brother.
I knew it. I knew we'd find our common ground.
Yeah. But no, cool pick. No, I definitely need to check that out. Do you remember the name of the song?
It's called All These Years.
All These Years. Okay. I will check that. I will scope that up when we're done recording.
All right, man. Well, that's another episode of Diablo Sim Podcastica. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Oh, I guess we're gonna take a knee. It's all over. I enjoyed it. I actually, this cheered me up today, and I hope it cheered up the listeners. I went from really being like in a down, like I said, not regretting we were going to record, but just like, how am I going to get in a happy place? And I got in a happy place, by making fun of other bands and then talking about Metallica with you. So it made me happier. So I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely. It's funny, man. Every time we go to record, and we talked about it at the very beginning, but every time you and I go to record, something has happened that's just like, just do this tomorrow. Like it's so messed up, man. Normally, it would be like, hey, let's record on Tuesdays, and every Tuesday would be fine. But man, it seems like the last 3 months has just been car accidents, locusts, COVID-19, quarantines. COVID tests, being on call, murder hornets, fucking Striper albums or something.
Yeah, it's but we keep doing it, man, and I enjoy it. And I'm going to end tonight with a smile on my face and a hangover tomorrow.
Nice. Well, once again, guys, make sure you are sharing from the Facebook page so you can become a henchman, and make sure to head over to your Apple Podcast or head over to Facebook. Leave a nice 5-star rating, a nice 5-star review. Will be read on an upcoming episode of Diablo Sim Podcastica. So for Diablo Sim Podcastica, I've been Joshua Toomey.
I'm Wadzilla, and fuck Cheap Trick.
Yeah. No, that's a terrible way to end it.
Yeah.
In your face.
But he said, I don't want you to want me. Fuck you.
All right. Diablos in Podcastica with Toomey and Wadzilla.